Bitcoin, we start with daily charges. I want to give a quick update. First of all, if you refer to my last analysis, when the price was exactly as here, we discussed about the corrective move because if we move to lower time frame, I pointed that the way is moving is very corrective. That's why we come up with this one. And I mentioned there is a divergence and discuss had any opportunity for buy will be as a short term. And I mentioned we buying at the top, we have to be quite careful because of the divergence. Anyway, this is what we get. Okay. And how deep this one can go, we can expect even the price. If the price could break the 64, we can look for even 60. That's why if anyone wants to look for buy, they have to be quite careful. Anyway, we start with the higher time frame. We start with the monthly chart. As we can see, the price could break the previous top, but there was no continuation, and now we see this start to drop and is lower than the previous all-time high, which is this one. Now the question is whether we can look for continuation or we can expect this one to turn to more complex correction before we see the continuation. Okay. Anyway, that's why in my last analysis I mentioned if anyone wants to look for buy, they should be quite careful. Anyway, at this point, based on monthly and weekly chart, we don't see much information. The only thing is we have to wait. If there was a breakout of the 69 and we see then we can look for continuation. And if the price to start to consolidate here, then we have to be quite careful in case this one turn to more complex correction before we see the continuation. Okay. Anyway, at this point, we cannot confirm. The only thing is for sure if we get the anyone wants to look for sell and they expect this is the start of the we can expect for the next drop, then in terms of the risk and reward they can look for the very good profit. But based on the experience, what we see and what we expect, we're looking for continuation. Okay. Now the question is whether we should look for sell or whether we should look for buy. We cannot confirm based on higher time frame because we cannot confirm based on the long term. Then we try to trade based on lower time frame and we just follow the direction with we just follow the chart. Okay. Because mostly we have been looking to see the breakout of the 69 and the continuation. And as I mentioned, with the breakout of the 100K, we have been looking, even most of the traders, the analyzers, they have been looking for 150 and 180K. Okay. Now, what's the next? How we can look for trade? Anyway, if you refer to my last analysis, I mentioned after the breakout of the 69K, we mentioned for continuation, at least we're looking for 77 and 88K. But this is what we get. Okay, how deep this one can go? We can, at this point, with the breakout of the 64, we can look for 60. Okay, if the price drop to this zone, then we come up how deep it can go if there is a breakout of the 60. But at this point, if the price couldn't break, it could break the 64, the next level we are looking for is 60. And mostly we're looking for this one to turn to a correction for continuation. Okay, that's why we are not really interested to look for a sell. The only times you can look for sell if we see the next reversal as a corrective, and mostly if we see with the breakout of this top following by divergence, this is where we have to be quite careful to look for the sell. If we get the daily correction, then maybe we can look for sell. But at this point, we want to see whether we can look for buy or not. But based on daily chart, I don't see any trade setup for look for buy. And if we move to forward chart, similar explanation. Okay. The only thing is if anyone wants to look for buy, now they can look for flag from here. Okay. Any trade, any opportunity for buy from here will be short term. Because if the price continues as a corrective, then we shouldn't keep the trade. We can look for the next drop and we can expect this one turn to start to continue and drop following by divergence before we see the reversal. But since we have a divergence from here, we can look for the any flag, any opportunity for buy, we will take it, but it will be as a short-term trade. That means as long as we see the breakout of the previous top, then we have to start to manage it. Okay, but simply we will not get buy because of the, as I mentioned, we can expect this one turn to a deeper correction. And we should know that we buying at the top. Okay. And that's why in my last analysis, I mentioned for me, if I want to look for buy, I prefer to look for the trade setup above the 69, not below the 69. Then at this point, If anyone wants to look for buy based on lower time frame, they should consider as a short term. Okay. And as I mentioned, at this point, I don't see any trade setup. If we get the flag, we can look for buy. But rather than that, we should just let it go. Okay. Anyway, I don't see any trade setup at this point, and we should know that we're buying at the top. That's why if the price if we get the opportunity as a trade setup above the 69 will be the best. All right. In this case, we just follow the chart. If I see any update, I will share. Thanks.